Summary of John Keats's letter to Benjamin Bailey, November 22, 1817. In this letter, John Keats, a prominent Romantic poet, engages in a thoughtful and multifaceted exploration of his philosophical beliefs, literary ambitions, personal struggles, and the challenges of the poetic life. Written to his friend Benjamin Bailey, the letter offers a window into Keats's mind, revealing his views on imagination, religion, poetry, and the complexities of the human experience. 1. Imagination and negative capability. Keats introduces the concept of negative capability, emphasizing the poet's ability to embrace uncertainties and mysteries without the need for definitive answers. He envisions his imagination as a monastery and expresses a commitment to dwell in the realm of possibility, advocating for a poetry that transcends mere facts and reason. 2. Religion and philosophy. The letter delves into Keats's reflections on religion and philosophy. He critiques atheism and mechanistic thinking, advocating for a balance between reason and the imaginative, emotional aspects of life. Keats expresses a preference for the mysterious and passionate elements found in both poetry and religion. 3. Literary ambitions and study. Keats outlines his ambitious plan for self-education, revealing a desire to pass through the circle of the sciences and acquire knowledge in various fields. This intellectual curiosity reflects the Romantic era's emphasis on individual exploration and the interconnectedness of knowledge. 4. Financial realities and poetry. The letter touches on the financial challenges faced by Keats as a poet. He discusses payments for his works, highlighting the economic difficulties inherent in the life of a poet during the early 19th century. This aspect provides insight into the pragmatic considerations that poets of that time grappled with. 5. Personal struggles and happiness. Keats opens up about his personal struggles, noting that he has rarely known unalloyed happiness. He reflects on the impact of death and sickness on his emotional state. This candid discussion adds a human dimension to Keats's persona and underscores the emotional depth behind his poetry. 6. Literary interests and eclecticism. The letter reveals Keats's diverse literary interests, ranging from William Hazlitt to Thomas Holcroft. This eclecticism showcases the breadth of his intellectual influences and suggests the interconnectedness of various literary and philosophical ideas during the Romantic period. 7. Poetic ambition and legacy. Keats expresses a strong determination to be remembered among English poets. This ambition, coupled with his awareness of the challenges he faces, speaks to his commitment to the art of poetry. The letter hints at the tension between artistic ambition and the harsh realities of a poet's life. In conclusion, Keats's letter to Benjamin Bailey encapsulates the essence of his Romantic ideals, emphasizing the power of imagination, the interplay between reason and emotion, and the challenges faced by poets. It provides valuable insights into Keats's intellectual and emotional world, making it a significant document for those interested in the life and philosophy of this influential Romantic poet. This condensed summary touches on the major themes and aspects of the letter, providing a comprehensive overview within a more manageable word count. Here is an excerpt from the letter dated November 22, 1817, from John Keats to Benjamin Bailey. My imagination is a monastery, and I am its monk. I dwell in possibility, a fairer house than prose, though built by hands, away with reason, I will be mad. This is the only way human nature is but 3/4 tamed, especially in such spirits as mine. And then comes the business of filling up the parts and putting them to a tune. Now, you are to consider yourself in no wise responsible for this, nor am I a judge, and I care not about the subject. I am not ambitious of being a Milton, a Spenser, a Shakespeare. What I am aiming at is to be an accurate artist in my own art. I am working out a regular scheme of study. I mean to pass through the circle of the sciences, and then dispassionately examine what men have thought and said and done. I mean to read all the books I have not read before, that have any reputation, and if they have not, I intend to read them too, and so on till I comprehend a little in every direction. The excitement of the brain which produces the enthusiasm of poetry is necessary to a poet's existence. However the source of it may be dammed up for a while, the mind would become languid, and at length be dead, if it were not preserved in occasional activity by the recurrence of the enthusiasm. Every poet would do well to remember Milton's words. The poet's mind is in its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. What we want, we should not take it by largesse. What the people want is religion and poetry. They have had enough of the cold nothings of atheism and mechanism, neither of which can be carried out, and which leaves the man that takes it up a mere speculative existence and not a practical being to work out his salvation with fear and trembling. The poets have been mysterious enough to keep the people in awe, and religion has been too stern a taskmistress. The passions are the only prompts to nature, and though one may take up the Puritan's book that he may cool his eyes with thinking on hell and so forget the devil, which he dare not do without something to keep his thoughts in awe, one ought not so to vent one's religion as to forget one's humanity. The nonsense which some Christians talk, and some write, and all read, supposing the Bible to be more a guide than the nature of man or the constitutions of society, ought to be attributed to that mischief-making thing called the reason. I am glad at having done something for the press. If it should not succeed, yet I have been very lucky in these last poems of mine with respect to money. I got £20 for the last edition of 500, and now I have received £20 for the copyright, so that all I have to do is get an edition published, which shall clear me a little on my bookseller's account, and then my shoulders will be a little lightened for another try or two. It is impossible for a man of real talents to be by himself. If you are in company with a great genius, you will never know it. He makes a fool of himself before you can know it. I am at present employed in reading the lives of the early writers, and the more I read the more I am convinced that we have all been trumped up. But I do not let this discourage me. I shall do something yet. I shall be among the English poets after my death. Even as a matter of present interest, the attempt to crush me was so great that I must not very reasonably calculate upon anything like justice. Yet I am not discouraged. I could bear a flaying alive with impunity to my feelings while I am so right as I am in ambition. I could inwardly smile at persecution, but do not be surprised at anything I have written independently. Without judgment I may write independently, and with judgment hereafter. The genius of poetry must work out its own salvation in a man. It cannot be matured by law and precept, but by sensation and watchfulness in itself. That which is creative must create itself. This excerpt provides a glimpse into Keats's introspective thoughts on his own writing, his exploration of the lives of early writers, and his determination to continue pursuing his ambition despite challenges. I am in expectation of Prometheus every day, and shall cut a queer figure if it is not here by the time I hear from you again. I do not think I shall be disappointed, as Mr. Abbey would have sent word if it had been finished. I do not like anything I do not understand. I am not happy without something. I cannot do without the eternal poetry of the sensible world. The loveliness of the things of the earth, they are never half so affecting as when they can just be named without being dwelt upon. I have never known any unalloyed happiness for many days together. The death or sickness of someone has always spoiled my hours, and now when none such troubles oppress me, it is, you know, as bad as anything can be. The prospect of such misery seems a happy lot, comparing it with my own state. Even now, while I write this, I hear a long, screech owl note very slow. Surely that is the owl with the cock's neck, and if so, that sound is ominous to me. It denotes sickness and death. I have been reading William Hazlitt, Thomas Holcroft, and am now deep in Hudibras. I wish that, without any mortal obliquity, we might meet each other, shake hands, pull noses and swear perpetual friendship, yet I think I could not receive you without some embarrassment from recollecting that you had been a witness to my debilities. I was not aware of this until after you were gone, nor shall I have the smallest clue to the knowledge of this, except you tell me whether you saw me first since my recovery. This passage offers a glimpse into Keats's personal struggles, his appreciation for the beauty of the natural world, and his literary interests at the time. In this letter from John Keats to Benjamin Bailey, dated November 22, 1817, Keats touches on various themes. He discusses the importance of imagination and the need for poets to dwell in uncertainties and mysteries. Keats also shares his plans for a comprehensive study of various subjects, expressing a desire to be well versed in different fields. He reflects on the role of passion in human nature and criticizes what he sees as the cold, uninspiring aspects of atheism and mechanistic thinking. The letter delves into Keats's views on religion, poetry, and the human experience. He emphasizes the necessity of excitement and enthusiasm for poetry, presenting them as vital elements for a poet's existence. Keats also touches on his financial considerations as a poet, mentioning the reception and monetary aspects of his recent works. The excerpts reveal Keats's introspective nature, his ongoing exploration of literature and philosophy, and his determination to continue pursuing his ambition as a poet despite challenges. In the letter to Benjamin Bailey dated November 22, 1817, John Keats discusses several themes. He emphasizes the importance of imagination and dwelling in uncertainties for poets. Keats expresses his ambitious plan to study a wide range of subjects and critiques the perceived shortcomings of atheism and mechanistic thinking. The letter also touches on Keats's views on religion, passion, and the human experience. Additionally, he reflects on his financial situation as a poet and his determination to continue despite challenges. The excerpts reveal Keats's introspective nature, literary interests, and his unwavering commitment to his poetic ambitions. In this letter from John Keats to Benjamin Bailey, several themes and elements can be analyzed. Imagination and poetry. Keats emphasizes the importance of imagination for poets. He introduces the concept of negative capability, the ability to dwell in uncertainties without reaching after facts and reason. This reflects Keats's belief in the power of poetic imagination and the acceptance of ambiguity. Philosophical reflections. Keats engages in philosophical discussions about human nature, religion, and the pursuit of knowledge. He criticizes atheism and mechanistic thinking, expressing a preference for the mystery and passion associated with poetry and religion. Literary ambitions and study. Keats reveals his ambitious plan for self-education, intending to read extensively and become well-versed in various subjects. This reflects his intellectual curiosity and determination to develop as a poet through a comprehensive understanding of the world. Financial considerations. The letter touches on Keats's financial situation as a poet. He discusses payments for his works and his hopes for future financial stability, shedding light on the economic challenges faced by poets in the early 19th century. Personal struggles. Keats briefly mentions personal struggles and the impact of death and sickness on his happiness. This adds a personal dimension to the letter, providing insight into the emotional challenges Keats faced during this period of his life. Literary interests. The letter reveals Keats's literary interests at the time, including his reading of William Hazlitt and Thomas Holcroft, as well as his engagement with Hudibras. This reflects his eclectic taste and ongoing exploration of literature. Poetic ambition. Despite challenges, Keats expresses a strong determination to succeed as a poet. He discusses his aspirations to be remembered among the English poets, showcasing his confidence in his abilities and the endurance of his work. Overall, the letter provides a window into Keats's intellectual and emotional world, his thoughts on literature, philosophy, and the challenges faced by a young poet striving for recognition and success. Let's delve into some specific themes in John Keats's letter to Benjamin Bailey along with examples. Imagination and negative capability. Theme. Keats emphasizes the importance of imagination and introduces the concept of negative capability, encouraging poets to embrace uncertainties without seeking absolute knowledge. Example. My imagination is a monastery, and I am its monk. I dwell in possibility, a fairer house than prose. Philosophical reflections on religion and poetry. Theme. Keats reflects on the role of religion and poetry, criticizing atheism and mechanistic thinking while championing the mystery and passion associated with both. Example. The loveliness of the things of the earth, they are never half so affecting as when they can just be named without being dwelt upon. Literary ambitions and study. Theme. Keats discusses his ambitious plan for self-education, revealing his determination to read extensively and become well-versed in various subjects. Example. I am working out a regular scheme of study, I mean to pass through the circle of the sciences. Financial considerations and challenges. Theme. The letter touches on Keats's financial situation as a poet, highlighting the economic challenges faced by writers in the 19th century. Example. I have been very lucky in these last poems of mine with respect to money. I got £20 for the last edition of 500 and now I have received £20 for the copyright. Personal struggles and emotions. Theme. Keats briefly mentions personal struggles and the impact of death and sickness on his happiness, adding a personal dimension to the letter. Example. I have never known any unalloyed happiness for many days together, the death or sickness of someone has always spoiled my hours. Literary interests. Theme. Keats reveals his literary interests at the time, showcasing his eclectic taste and ongoing exploration of literature. Example. I have been reading William Hazlitt, Thomas Holcroft, and am now deep in Hudibras. Poetic ambition and legacy. Theme. Despite challenges, Keats expresses a strong determination to succeed as a poet, aspiring to be remembered among the English poets. Example. I shall be among the English poets after my death. These themes and examples highlight the richness and complexity of Keats's thoughts in this letter, providing insight into his philosophical, personal, and literary perspectives. Let's critically examine some aspects of John Keats's letter to Benjamin Bailey. Imagination and negative capability. Keats's emphasis on imagination and negative capability reflects a departure from the rationalist thinking of his time. Critics often praise Keats for his celebration of mystery and uncertainty, seeing it as a key aspect of his poetic genius. However, some might argue that the concept is vague and difficult to define precisely. Philosophical reflections on religion and poetry. Keats's critique of atheism and mechanistic thinking, coupled with his championing of the emotional and passionate aspects of poetry and religion, reveals his romantic ideals. Critics appreciate Keats's exploration of these themes as an integral part of his intellectual and artistic development, while others might find his views overly idealistic or contradictory. Literary ambitions and study. Keats's plan for a comprehensive study reflects his intellectual ambition. Critics often admire Keats's dedication to self-improvement and knowledge. However, some might argue that his pursuit of an all-encompassing education was too ambitious and lacked a clear focus, potentially contributing to the challenges he faced during his brief career. Financial considerations and challenges. Keats's acknowledgement of financial challenges adds a practical dimension to the letter. Critics often sympathize with the economic struggles faced by Romantic poets. However, some may argue that Keats's focus on financial aspects detracts from the purity of his artistic motivations or that it highlights the precarious nature of a poet's livelihood during that era. Personal struggles and emotions. Keats's candid mention of personal struggles and their impact on his happiness adds a human element to his letter. Critics appreciate the vulnerability and honesty in his writing, considering it a testament to his emotional depth. However, some might question the extent to which personal troubles should influence artistic endeavors. Literary interests. Keats's diverse literary interests showcase his curiosity and intellectual engagement. Critics often commend his broad reading, seeing it as a source of inspiration for his poetry. However, others may argue that his eclectic taste contributed to a lack of clear artistic identity or focus. Poetic ambition and legacy. Keats's determination to be remembered among English poets reflects both his confidence and his awareness of the challenges he faced. Critics often admire his resilience and view it as indicative of his commitment to poetry. However, some might argue that such ambition, while commendable, may have contributed to the stress and intensity that affected his health and well-being. In examining this letter, one should consider the historical context, the romantic ideals prevalent during Keats's time, and the challenges faced by poets in the early 19th century. While critics may have varying opinions on specific aspects, the letter overall provides valuable insights into Keats's character, philosophy, and the struggles inherent in the life of a poet. John Keats's letter to Benjamin Bailey, like many of his writings, has been subject to various criticisms and interpretations. Here are some aspects that critics have commented on. Ambiguity and elusiveness. Critics have noted that Keats's writing, including this letter, can be elusive and open to multiple interpretations. Some argue that this ambiguity adds to the richness of his work, allowing readers to engage with his ideas on their terms. Others, however, may find this lack of explicitness challenging and view it as a potential weakness. Negative capability. The concept of negative capability has been both praised and critiqued. While many appreciate Keats's emphasis on embracing uncertainty and mystery, some critics find the idea somewhat vague and challenging to grasp. The lack of a precise definition has led to varied interpretations. Financial concerns. Keats's mention of financial matters in the letter has been a point of discussion. Some critics argue that this reveals the harsh economic realities faced by Romantic poets, contributing to a broader understanding of the challenges of the artistic life during the time. Others may feel that discussions about money detract from the purity of artistic motivations. Romantic ideals. Keats's embrace of romantic ideals, such as his emphasis on passion, imagination, and the rejection of cold rationalism, has been both celebrated and critiqued. Some view these ideals as the essence of his poetic genius, while others may consider them too idealistic or even impractical. Personal struggles. Critics often appreciate Keats's willingness to share personal struggles, such as his fleeting experiences of happiness and the impact of death and sickness. This vulnerability is often seen as a strength, allowing readers to connect with the poet on a deeply personal level. However, some critics may argue that such personal revelations can distract from the artistic merits of the work. Eclectic literary interests. Keats's wide-ranging literary interests have been both praised and questioned. While some critics commend his diverse reading as a source of inspiration for his poetry, others suggest that it may have contributed to a lack of a distinctive voice or a clear artistic identity. Legacy and ambition. Keats's expressed ambition to be remembered among English poets has been viewed with admiration for his determination. However, some critics argue that this intense ambition, combined with his awareness of the challenges he faced, may have contributed to the stress and emotional intensity that affected his health and well-being. In considering these criticisms, it's important to recognize the subjective nature of literary analysis. Different readers and critics may interpret Keats's work in various ways, contributing to the ongoing discussion and appreciation of his contributions to poetry and literature. Insight into Keats's poetic philosophy. The letter provides a valuable glimpse into Keats's thoughts on poetry, imagination, and the creative process. His concept of negative capability and emphasis on the importance of imagination have become central to discussions of romantic poetry. Reflections on religion and philosophy. Keats's reflections on religion, atheism, and the mysteries of existence contribute to a deeper understanding of his philosophical views. His critique of cold rationalism and his celebration of the emotional and mysterious aspects of life align with romantic ideals. Literary ambitions and study. Keats's discussion of his ambitious plan for self-education reflects the intellectual climate of his time and his personal commitment to broadening his knowledge. This ambition provides context for his development as a poet. Financial realities of romantic poets. The letter sheds light on the economic challenges faced by poets in the early 19th century. Keats's mention of financial matters underscores the practical difficulties of sustaining oneself as a poet during that era. Personal struggles and emotional depth. Keats's candid discussion of personal struggles adds a human dimension to his persona. His openness about the impact of death and sickness on his happiness contributes to a fuller understanding of the emotional challenges he faced. Literary interests and eclecticism. Keats's mention of his literary interests, including his reading of Hazlitt and Holcroft, showcases the diversity of his influences. This eclectic taste provides insights into the broader cultural context of the time. Legacy and poetic ambition. The letter reveals Keats's determination to establish a lasting legacy among English poets. This ambition, despite his awareness of challenges, underscores his commitment to the art of poetry and adds a layer of poignancy considering the brevity of his life. Contribution to Keats's biographical understanding. The letter contributes to our understanding of Keats's life and the circumstances that influenced his poetry. It provides a personal and introspective view of the poet, helping readers connect with the man behind the literary works. In summary, this letter is significant for its contributions to our understanding of Keats's poetic philosophy, his intellectual and personal struggles, and the broader context of romantic literature. It enriches our appreciation of Keats as a poet and a thinker, offering a window into the complexities of his mind and life. The letter from John Keats to Benjamin Bailey exhibits several features that are characteristic of Keats's writing in the broader literary and philosophical context of the Romantic period. Romantic idealism. The letter reflects Keats's embrace of romantic ideals, such as the emphasis on imagination, emotion, and the rejection of the rationalism prevalent in the Enlightenment era. Philosophical exploration. Keats engages in philosophical discussions about religion, atheism, and the pursuit of knowledge. His reflections demonstrate a keen interest in broader philosophical ideas that were significant during the Romantic period. Literary references. Keats's mention of his reading, including authors like William Hazlitt and Thomas Holcroft, showcases his eclectic literary interests. This feature is in line with the Romantic fascination with a wide range of literary and intellectual influences. Personal vulnerability. Keats candidly shares personal struggles and emotions, offering a glimpse into his vulnerability. This personal touch is a characteristic feature of Keats's letters and poetry, contributing to the relatability and humanity of his work. Poetic ambition and legacy. The letter reveals Keats's ambition to be remembered among English poets. This aspiration is a recurring theme in his letters, emphasizing the importance he placed on his poetic legacy. Financial realities of a poet. Keats discusses financial matters, highlighting the economic challenges faced by poets during the Romantic era. This feature provides insight into the practical aspects of being a poet in the early 19th century. Artistic resilience. Despite personal and financial challenges, Keats expresses determination and resilience in pursuing his artistic ambitions. This feature underscores his commitment to poetry despite the difficulties he faced. Eclectic style. Keats's writing style in the letter is eclectic, blending philosophical reflections with personal anecdotes and literary references. This stylistic feature is consistent with the romantic tendency to merge different elements in a single work. Introspection. The letter reflects Keats's introspective nature. He engages in self-reflection, examining his own feelings, thoughts, and ambitions, contributing to a deeper understanding of the poet's psyche. Imaginative language. Keats employs imaginative and evocative language, even in prose. This feature aligns with his belief in the power of imagination and contributes to the aesthetic quality of his writing. These features collectively contribute to the richness and complexity of the letter, making it a significant example of Keats's prose and providing valuable insights into his literary, philosophical, and personal world.